This is Travel in 10.
And now, your host, David Brody.
Hi, this is David Brody, and today on Travel in 10, we're going to be visiting the Azabu Juban district of Tokyo. This is an area where you're going to find a lot of the residences for the foreign embassies in town, and a lot of the businesses here will cater to that market. You're going to find a lot of great restaurants, a lot of great shops, and a lot of interesting attractions, like the spot we're going first on our show today, the Azabu Juban Onsen. So come along with us as we board the train and head off to the station. Once you've arrived at the station, we're going to go ahead and look for exit 4 and head out from there. Continue up Azabu Juban Street for about 5 blocks. And when you've got 5 blocks, you're going to see a St. Moritz bakery on the left-hand side of the street. And directly across the street from the St. Moritz bakery is the onsen. And there's nothing really to suggest what it is. As I say, it just looks like an apartment building. And it's up on the 3rd floor is the onsen itself. The only thing that would help you notice it at all is there's a very small sort of beige sign in English that says Azabu Juban Onsen, 3rd floor. So arriving in the onsen, the first thing you're going to discover is that you need to remove your shoes. Same as coming to a Japanese home. Whenever you go to a traditional onsen or a sento, one of the first things you need to do is remove your shoes, and there'll be shoe lockers there. Remove the key from the shoe lockers and go ahead to the front desk. At the front desk, they'll let you know how much it costs to visit for the day, and take your shoe locker key and give you a locker key for the main change rooms from there. Now, going into the Sento, you're going to find that they're used to having foreigners come here. Although the majority of clientele is Japanese, particularly at this onsen, they do get some international customers. So they do have a set of rules written in English to give you an idea of how the facilities are to be used. But they've got a few great things here. Right across from the check-in desk, you're going to find a tatami mat room. Tatami floors are floors made from woven straw. It makes a very comfortable area to sit in. And they essentially have a tea room here that after you're finished with the hot springs that you can go into, relax in the tatami mat floors. They have low tables, and they'll serve Japanese tea to you after you're finished relaxing in the baths. On Sundays, they also have performers come in and perform traditional Japanese music, so that's a great time to come visit. The baths themselves, you'll figure out the rules when you get there, but essentially you have to go in, you remove your clothes, and you go into the bath area. Men and women are segregated, and the first thing you're going to go into a shower area. Unlike a Western shower, in a Japanese shower, you actually sit down while you're showering. There'll be a plastic bucket turned upside down, and you sit on the plastic bucket and go ahead and begin rinsing off. You're going to want to make sure you rinse off very thoroughly. That's one thing that the other customers here at the bath will look for, because everyone does share the bathing water, the hot spring water together. They want to make sure you've bathed there very thoroughly before getting in. And then from there, it's pretty easy. You just go into the hot springs and relax. The water you're going to find is very warm, so you're going to want to get in slowly. But once you do that, it's interesting. The water at this particular hot springs, because it's filled with many different types of minerals, is quite dark, almost as dark as coffee. So you'll relax there for as long as you're comfortable, and then go into the steam room from there. Steam room is right next to the baths. And then once you've finished, you can go ahead back to the tatami room and go relax. One other thing that you'll find at this onsen is it's a little bit older than some of the other onsens or sentos in the city, and they've got some very old massaging chairs where you actually have to crank the massagers up and down by hand, but they do a great job. They only cost 20 yen, so about 20 to 30 cents, and you get about a 10-minute massage for that. A bit confusing is downstairs is a sento, which is a traditional Japanese public bath. Upstairs is the onsen, which is a hot springs filled with natural spring water. So that's the only real difference between the two. As I say, finding the building is quite difficult. It basically just looks like a regular apartment building here on the corner. Really, that St. Moritz bake shop as a landmark is about the best I can do to describe it. And right across it, you'll see a very ordinary-looking apartment block type building. If you go in on the first floor, that's the sento. And one thing to be careful of, one thing that I didn't realize is the right-hand side is where men enter. The left-hand side is where women enter. And with all public baths in Japan, you're not wearing anything, so you've got to make sure that you go in the right doors. Not only did I make the mistake of first going in the wrong door, but then as I was on my way out, there was a woman walking in, and I was trying to be helpful and held open the door for her, and then she started to walk into the men's change room as well. So you should try and learn the Japanese lettering for male and female. Now, finishing up with the onsen, I think you're going to find a lot of other great things to do here in the neighborhood. One of the things you're going to find with Azabu Juban is that the neighborhood is a lot like places like if you've ever been to Georgetown in Washington, D.C., or the Glebe District in Ottawa, Canada's capital. You're going to see a lot of similarities here in terms of some of the shops and restaurants, and even some of the architecture, the tree-lined streets. A lot of similarities there, I think. And one other place I'd recommend to go while you're here in the neighborhood is coming out of the onsen. Just keep heading straight up the street, and eventually in about a 10 or 15 minute walk, you're going to hit upon a great supermarket called Foodland, where you can get a lot of great imported goods. And eventually you're going to hit into the Roppongi Hills complex. Great English language theater there, tons of great shopping, a beautiful hotel, the Grand Hyatt Tokyo. But just before hitting into Roppongi Hills, you're going to see the Tsutaya bookstore. This is probably one of the best bookstores in Tokyo in terms of finding English language books. I would say a good 20 to 30% of the books that they carry here are English language books. And it's just a great spot. You're going to find some really cool books. There's one I was checking out today called Cool Restaurants Tokyo. Suggests a lot of great places to go. And there's also another guidebook that I would really recommend picking up if you're here and you happen to find it, called the Brutus Guide to Tokyo. Brutus Guide to Tokyo. Brutus magazine it's actually a Japanese language magazine, very similar to publications like Wallpaper magazine, or a little bit in the style of even something like Travel and Leisure. Normally it's a Japanese language publication, but they have in the last few years published a guide to sort of the hip, cool things to see in Tokyo. A lot of great suggestions in there, and a guidebook that will keep you busy for many days while you're here in town.
Thanks for listening to the Travel in 10 podcast. Please email any questions, comments, or suggestions you have to travelin10@gmail.com. This has been a presentation of Travel in 10.